So I want to get to a few viewer questions. First off is Bill, who says, my company asked me what would make my workplace experience better. And I said, ergonomic supportive seating. It's to the point you said before. He adds, I'm not asking for an Aeron chair, but that would be nice.
Yeah. Yeah. Bill, first of all, take a moment to appreciate that your employer asked, because most don't. And it's true. When it comes to working from home, good desk seating continues to be the issue. And I know I'm super biased with this, but data from Leesman and others supports this as well. It's what supports our body a majority of the day. And yeah, actually, Mark, if you want me to find a coupon code, I bet I can. But yeah, having a good desk chair is really key. And like I said, there's chairs like Aeron that are designed to be super fine tuned to an individual.
Right.
And then there's other chairs that are kind of more multi-user, but it's a big part of the issue. And so whether it's through a stipend, or we've got a couple customers that actually provide chair, almost like it's basically taxable income. It's like a gift. So you keep the chair, and yes, you're going to have to take a little bit of hit on your taxes because it counts as revenue. But finding a way of providing more support at work is usually, in the home workplace is usually a win-win.
You can't see it behind me because it's hiding all of my wife's shipping boxes, but I have an Eckernes stressless chair and ottoman behind me that got me through a lot of back problems in the agency days of my career.
Yeah.
I want to get to a really interesting question from CJ, who asks, how does MillerKnoll's research and insight reflect neurodivergency? This is a big topic we get about neurodiversity and neurodivergency. CJ manages a team of engineers, many who are neurodiverse, who could benefit from appropriate workplace enhancements. What are your thoughts on this?
Many. Our research into it goes back a long time. And for us, neurodivergence falls within a slightly even bigger topic around inclusive design. And it gets back to kind of what I was talking about before, designing with, not just for employees. So we've looked extensively at, yes, the needs of those on the neurodivergent spectrum, and that's autism, but it's a whole host of other things. Those with specific sensory needs. We've even done work, I know this is kind of a crazy thing to mention, we've even done work around the needs of women of menopausal age in the workforce, which has been a topic in the UK for a while. There's people that are experiencing anxiety at work. There's others that are experiencing any number of things that, if we take a moment to ask, where are the struggles? Like, what is it that you're finding hinders your experience, your productivity, allows us to then design better spaces. Now, on the topic of neurodivergence, I'm going to try to not get too into interior design theory here for a minute, but there tends to be a desire for either hypo or hypersensitive environments, meaning spaces that provide very little stimulus, quiet, focus, and it's pretty common to see people unscrewing the lamps, the light bulbs above their desk to try to be able to reduce the sensory input to focus. Then there's others on the neurodivergent spectrum that really respond very positively to some buzz, some energy, and some noise. So choice is good. The ideal situation is giving people maybe a couple different environments to work from. But if we're talking about assigned desking, I strongly recommend having a quick conversation with the team and saying, do you feel like the environments allow you to focus and concentrate? Is it too quiet? Is it too loud? What are those distractions? And then we can provide some specific recommendations for the design of the space. But I'll give you one quick anecdote. We designed within Herman Miller height adjustable desk called Renew back in 2015 or 16. And one of the things we do is we go to our business resource groups, our employee resource groups, and we ask them for input on designs. And almost every organization has them, some for veterans, women, disability, whatever. And so one of the things we learned about height adjustable tables is that the controls for them are sometimes difficult for someone who's on the neurodivergent spectrum or have other limitations. So if you take a look at a sit-stand table, it's got like a little paddle. There's a couple of arrows. If you don't have good visual acuity, you might not be able to see those arrows. If you don't have good fine motor skills, you might not be able to hit them easily. But those that specifically were on the autism spectrum, we found that there's a little bit of latency. Like when a sit-stand desk hasn't been operated for a little while, the motor cools down, and when you hit it, there's maybe a couple of seconds until it moves. And the designer of this product, Brian Alexander, who himself is neurodivergent and talks about it, said, we've got to overcome this. So it was so simple. We designed this little polypropylene clear adjustment, or it's kind of frosted, and you don't have to look at it to hit it, but it's got a little embedded LED light. And if you push it, the light immediately sends you a signal. You're good. So even
Oh,
if the
wow.
table takes a second, and like with many things with inclusive design, this would be true of the OXO Good Grips peeler, other examples. We released that product, and it only took a few months before people wanted that adjustment on all of our tables. And so I think the principle here is, let's include people that have unique needs in the design process. We don't necessarily have to ask them what color paint they want, but if we just ask them about their experience, it provides us the basis for improving it. And I don't remember who asked the question. I think it might have been CJ, but if you want one of our strategists to have a conversation with you, I'm happy to accommodate it. Just hit me up on LinkedIn.